Imagine a battlefield where line and tone are at war. Well, not exactly at war, but they hamper each other as they try in their own way to describe the same thing. Ultimately, there's a happy ending where the two learn to combine. But where they don't combine is in your head. If you try to draw line and tone, or detail and shading at the same time, it will not produce optimum results, because you're not giving your mind the freedom it needs to accurately and efficiently create either. Just a theory? I think not. Many years ago, when I was principally drawing hair, I learned to divide detail from tonal shaping. That's so I can concentrate on one without being distracted by the other. For example, I could be using line to create layers of hair. And this is negative drawing. I'm drawing the spaces between the locks, not the locks themselves. And all I've got to do is to think about the ends of the locks and how they lay on the body. Let's say it's coming down the side of the animal and disappearing underneath. Now, with the detail established, I can add the three-dimensional shaping on top. And as I'll explain later, you can adjust this layer without disturbing the layer beneath. Did you see my magic pencil point video about the wonders of a chisel point? Well, you should, but here's a crash course, because the chisel point and dividing line and tone are like brother and sister, very closely related but also independently effective. Now, chisel point has two principal features: a flat face and a sharp edge. And when I've finished using the sharp edge, which is used for line-based detail, all I've got to do is to turn the pencil over, and I can use the broad flat face to smoothly add the three-dimensional shading. Of course, the edge will eventually wear away and need to be replaced. But here's the kicker: it's self-sharpening. Every time you use the flat face, you automatically sharpen the edge. So we can easily divide any part of any drawing into line and tone. But why break your drawing down at all? Well, dividing it up allows you to concentrate on a single element, and then you can simplify that element again by separating line and tone. When you draw, you probably already split detail from tonal shading without being aware of it. For example, you might scribble the foliage of a tree, focusing on leaf shape and edges, and then add its three-dimensional shaping. So make conscious use of that and turn it into a technique. Line is used for detail and uses sharp marks. It creates edges. They might be the pits in rusty metal, or the texture of a dog's nose. So line first, because without creating boundaries, you have nothing to shade. Tone uses the soft edge marks to the flat face for shaping. It describes the lighting, colour and three-dimensional form. With the chisel point, line uses the edge. Tone uses the flat face. So why mix the two? They're different operations. Tone, the flat face, draws broad soft-edged lines that tend to sit on the surface of the paper. Line is sharp-edged and works its way deep into the tooth, which means line and tone can be on separate layers, and it's best to think of it that way. Here, let me show you. All I have to think about is the shape and the little features along the bottom of this feather. I can visualise what it would look like in real life. And I'm not in any way confusing my mind by thinking about light and shade or colour. Now I'll create the cast shadow. That's an unbroken smooth area, so the flat face suits it best. And the initial line gives me a narrow safety margin to shade up to, or rather away from, because away from is safer than stopping at. There's no chance of me overshooting into the body. And while I'm completing this, if you're new to my channel, I'm Mike Sibley, a professional graphite artist, and I make drawing videos here at YouTube, and many more for my Draw with Mike community. And please give this one a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe, because that helps to show this video to more artists here at YouTube. Now back to line to create all the internal detail, the filaments. And having already invented all the edge detail, I have ready-made features to connect to, such as the splits. Finally, I'll add the tone layer on top. Because the surface detail already exists, I'm not having to think about that at all. Only the tonal variations as it shifts from light to shade, and the way any little internal features might catch the light or create shade. See? Simple. Now, there's something important I've only alluded to so far. I've mentioned that the flat face of your chisel point skims over the surface of your paper to produce soft edge seamless shading on top of the tooth, and that the edge is ideal for drawing details because it creates sharp edge lines that fill the tooth of the paper. So with line and tone on separate layers, that presents us with a whole new set of possibilities. Remember this? 2 layers, detail within the tooth, tone on top. And that separation is important because you can gently erase to adjust the values of the upper layer without affecting the layer beneath. You might be able to do this with a kneadable eraser, but I'm using Blue Tack, and I'll make a video on this technique for you very soon. See the difference? You can make really subtle changes that simply aren't possible if you mix detail and tone. But above all else is the need to break your subject down into manageable parts. You have to give your mind the freedom it needs to concentrate on forming an understanding of the element you're working on. And dividing detail from tone is one excellent way to do that. Well, do let me know in the comments if this has helped you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.